He's a good dancer.
Yeah. That's because he stole my routine!
Good Fortune is about a well-meaning but inept angel named Gabriel, played by Keanu Reeves, who meddles in the lives of a struggling Los Angelino, played by myself, who lost his job and lost his apartment, and another very, very wealthy Los Angelino named Jeff, played by Seth Rogen, who lives in a giant mansion in Bel Air.
You know, when we meet Jeff, he is, a very rich guy who works in like venture capital and is pretty, I bet he thinks of himself as like a pretty good guy, but probably doesn't appreciate how hard other people have it. And and Arj is, a college graduate who lives in his car. He starts working for me, and then we switch lives.
I play a character named Gabriel, who is a lower order angel. I have smaller wings, and my duties are saving people from choking and texting and driving. But I want to do more. I see Aziz's character, who's playing a character named Arj, and I follow him around, and I think that he's a lost soul, so I'm going to try and help him. But he's working, as an assistant for Seth Rogen, who's playing Jeff, and Jeff is playing a wealthy character, and he thinks that that is the life that he wants to have. So I switch Arj and Jeff in their lives.
This angel who Keanu plays, Gabriel, is kind of expecting this poor guy, after living a rich man's life for a little while, to like see the honor and merits of being like a poor man in America. And after a week, Aziz's character finds that there's no merits to being a poor person in comparison to being a rich one, and doesn't want to switch back.
I gotta say, so far, man, this is great.
Good Fortune, it's kind of hard to describe it because it's so unique and specific in its own way. However, the tone and the notes are similar to like It's a Wonderful Life, maybe met with a little bit of like Bruce Almighty. Like it has some of that like humorous but like weighted sentiment.
I originally wrote Seth as the angel. I thought Seth would be this angel guy, just a dumb angel, and I thought he'd be really funny doing it. But then as we kept going, I talked to Seth, and we realized this guy that's Jeff needs to be someone that you can get behind. Like, he's got to be a little bit of a douche, but you also got to kind of like him and got to enjoy seeing him throughout the movie and kind of growing as a character. And then I realized, I should just make Seth that guy, and then we could get someone else to be the angel. And then Keanu's name came up for the angel, and I met him and was immediately like, oh my God, this has to be Keanu. There's no other person that could do this.
I think Keanu has like a kind of like ethereal quality to him, and I think you project a sort of angelic, presence onto him, and he kind of has like a Jesus-y look to him a little bit. So I think he ticks a lot of boxes.
I was really honored that Aziz was interested in working with me. I'm a fan of his. And the themes, motifs, it was funny. It was about something about life in a really good way, a respectful, but like, it's funny, but it's sensitive. And, it was with Seth Rogen, who I'm a huge fan of, and he's brilliant. Seth's a big brain, he's a big mind, but he has such a facility with performance. He can go this way, that way, he can go big, he can go fun. He's really nothing he can't do. It's been fun to be, to be Gabriel to his Jeff. They're quite an interesting couple.
We know if there is anybody that shouldn't have problems, it's angels. But in this movie, Gabriel trying to climb the corporate ladder too in the angel world. He got baby wings. He like, I want to get some big wings. Don't nobody trust me to do the job that would get me the big wings. I gotta try to prove myself. I gotta try to break, I gotta cross the red lines to try and get myself to where I wanna go. I'm trying to be God's favorite. So we get to see Gabriel's journey of trying to be this better angel and to be proud of himself and to feel validated. And it should be, I should be able to do this. And then he goes on his journey of mixing things up and making Arj's life and Jeff's life a mess. So he gets demoted and now he's a human. And he has to figure out, oh, wow, so how do I really do my job?
Well, I'm with Jeff, but we're living Arj's life. So it's the hardships, it's the struggles, it's where do you sleep, how do you make money, how do you eat, and the challenges of that. And I think his journey is kind of gaining some wisdom certainly being less naive. He wants to show, he's trying to show Arj that he has, to have hope for his life. And it's a journey to get there. And it's something ultimately that I can't give him. He has to find that out for himself.
Gabriel's boss is another angel named Martha, played by the wonderful Sandra Oh. And Sandra is kind of the manager of all angels, decides their duties and all these things. And I think she loves Gabriel, but also, can understand why he's maybe not given the bigger duties and the bigger wings and all this stuff. And I love their dynamic in the movie, and I'm so glad Sandra was able to do that part for us.
I think Jeff learns how hard other people have it and how good he has it, I think he views himself as being kind of like lucky, but maybe like on the slightly like a slightly normal guy who got lucky. But I think, I think he learns to appreciate just how many problems money fixes and how easy your life is when you have money in comparison to how hard it is when you don't.
Even though Jeff, Seth's character, is a really rich guy, he's not an overly rich asshole. I think what Aziz has done so well is bring so much nuance into what we think about all these different types of characters in our world. And it's not that Seth is a bad guy, he just isn't aware. He's lacking so much awareness because he's gone so far up in the air. It's like the biggest fear of anybody that reaches success is like, please, like, I don't want to become totally unaware of what's happening in the world. And that's what's happened to Jeff. And so I love that that character isn't completely villainized.
Kiki was always in the back of my head for Elena because we'd just done something together, and I could just see her having that passion of this woman who's trying to, unionize her store. And I interviewed a real guy who was trying to unionize a retail store that he worked at. And when I heard him and just kind of his passion, I could see Kiki doing that very well.
She's amazing. It's such a great energy and focus, and so charismatic. And her character is kind of like fighting a good fight. Yeah, no, it's been really cool to work with her.
I'd say me and Aziz have a collaborative relationship, and I think it's one of the reasons we like working together. I've known him for almost 20 years at this point, 15 years or something like that. He's a writer and actor himself, and so I think, he works well with other people like that as well.
His directing style is very, it's clean. It's like very direct. It's like, how about this? What about that? Maybe try this. Don't do that. I like this. Don't do that. Which I think is great, because there's no I was thinking more. It's, think about the subconscious of what's the impulse of. It's still dealing with what do you want, right? And what's the scene about? It's very much very crafted, and I think working with the cinematographer, he has a cinematic eye and vision, how he wants to shoot the film and the look. So for me, it's been great.
Yeah, I think it's relatable for a lot of people probably, about, just wanting your life to be different. I think Keanu Reeves is always exciting to see in a film, and he hasn't done an R-rated comedy maybe ever. So I think that's exciting for me personally as a fan.
It really reminded me of that feeling that I felt watching movies as a kid, where I felt really inspired and just truly man, I feel like I can go and I can make something happen. And I think we need that. Right now, it's oh my gosh, we're all on the brink and on the edge. And so I love the art that this movie is, because when you do watch it, if you do watch it, you're gonna walk away feeling good.
Been in an accident. He's in a coma. A coma? How? He was texting and driving. I thought that was your whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just parts of that.